Okay, I think we're ready to get started. This video is going to be a brief evaluation of this week's challenge, Rejection Therapy Week 6, Building Self-Esteem with Rejection Therapy. That's the deal there. And following up on that is the weekly evaluation. As always, well, it has been a while since we last did it due to some circumstances, but after this video I will do a weekly evaluation. It's an individual workshop, you might say. I sit here on my own working and you sit at your place, at your desk or wherever you are and do your weekly evaluation. It's just a way to really make it happen. It's such a key thing to have this grounding point every time, every week. Someday you throughout the week to sit down and just look through the week, what has happened, and just reground yourself. So that's for later, but first off, we are doing this evaluation, the Rejection Therapy week number 6. So what has, oh scheisse, I just used Pomodoro to block my YouTube. Okay, if you want to say something, I have no idea if you're writing to me or not because I can't see my YouTube feed no more. That's a productivity tool, Promomo something. You press the button and then it blocks all the pages for 25 minutes. I did not intend for that to happen right now. But let's get down to business. So we have been practicing rejection therapy. Why do we do this? Or first off, what is it? Basically, you design a question or request and then you go out and make that request or ask that question to a person or a group of people. It should be something that could result in you getting rejected or getting a no, because the goal is to get desensitized to this rejection, to the fear of getting rejected, to learn how to take and deal with a no. Why is that good? Well, it's just something that's going to be a part of our life if we want to push ourselves in and go in these uncomfortable directions. And we want to do that because that's when the real growth happens. That's where the magic happens, outside our comfort zone. And if we can find a place within us when we are, I shouldn't say comfortable, but when we are able to push ourselves to do those things, to ask those questions, the big things and the small things. If we can find that place within us and have that easily accessible, it will make us grow and develop so much more rapidly, or develop to the points that we would never reach otherwise. So it's just something that is, I shouldn't say key, because you will absolutely survive without this skill, but it will just benefit you in so many ways. This actually originates from a card game called Rejection Therapy, where you just pull out a card and it says do this and you're supposed to do this. But then there was this guy, G.I. Jung, which actually he did 100 days of rejection therapy and he designed his own requests or questions. So I was inspired by this guy because he has a TED Talk and has written a book about it. So I thought, hey, that's a great thing that really aligns with what I'm doing here, because I'm on a quest to build self-esteem. And self-esteem truly is built through action, but above all, doing the things that aligns with your values, beliefs, and goals. So that is a sub-condition for my rejection therapy challenges. It should not just be the things that will absolutely result in a rejection if it's something that doesn't align with your beliefs or values, like doing something that's a bit fishy or something like that. The questions or requests should be designed from within you, from what you believe in, from what you want to do, in what areas you want to grow and develop in. For instance, if you just look of the focus of my week this week, I have been all about approaching girls because it's an area that I truly want to develop in. So I then practice to do these I practice to get rejected in the context of approaching girls, learning how to, well, mainly it has been about approaching them, and I can really feel that it has paid off. But so, yeah, that is the idea. We learn how to get used to taking a no, to not fear the rejection part, and we also build self-esteem, because these challenges, they are something that we do every other week, and the other weeks we do a theoretical knowledge-based challenge, which is based on the book The 6 Pillars of Self-Esteem, which really narrows down in the concept of how to build self-esteem. And that's what's coming up next week as well. But so these two tools together creates a great toolbox for you to build yourself up. And for me, like the personal growth since I started to do this like 2 months ago, it's just incredible. I'm a totally new person. So that is basically why and how we do this. And how has it gone? How has this week turned out? Well, since it is the 6th week of me doing these challenges, I actually had a little twist on it. Since I was in Barcelona last weekend, the weekend that just was, I took the opportunity to do the challenges in Barcelona, since it was such a great opportunity for me to make something more than just a fun trip out of this Barcelona trip. And it's always fun with new environments and contexts, and to be able to connect a little bit with people outside the environment I'm in right now, super fun and adds a bit of tension. So that was basically the idea here. Now, first off, I must say that doing these rejection therapy challenges, the idea is to do it one every day. That's how I originally intend this to be built up. Because if we look at sustainable growth and sustainable process methods for continue your personal development journey, you want to find habits and routines that makes it sustainable long term. If you do like I did this weekend with these challenges, I crammed it all together for like 2 days. I did it all, the whole week's outline of challenges, and that's good in one sense. You really get into the mood of it, and you kind of get it for free a little bit because it's easier when you do it repetitively. But I really like to emphasize doing small things in many spread it out. That's what I'm trying to say. I'd rather have you do 5 different challenges on 5 days than doing 20 challenges on 1 day, because it's a little bit like running a marathon. That might be a very good exercise for you at that point. 4 hours of just boom, jogging, going crazy, and really good exercise, but it won't create that long-lasting habit change, that mind shift change that is necessary. We want to find something within us that makes us go to that place repetitively, over and over again. So doing the small things often, volume, that's how you change. That's how you implement some real change within you. So that's just something that I'm not totally satisfied with how I designed this. But then again, it did play out well. It was fun, and I put out a vlog episode for every day. I divided it up, and I think it, material-wise, I think it played out very well. And I must say, I have also been doing some rejection therapy challenges throughout this week, but it hasn't been as exciting, and I choose to just divide my episodes up, focusing in on the Barcelona trip. More fun, more enjoyable content. And also, I actually managed to get sick, so I've been working from home these last couple of days. But that's none of your interest. To just highlight some conclusions, I guess, from these rejection therapy challenges. To start off in the point of what's most important, if you decide to drop off, I want to get that message across. Rejection therapy, as I've been talking about previously, it is so tough before you do the approach. The anxiety that builds up before you can push yourself to do that thing. It's hard, it's tough. That's the real effort when you do this. For me at least, the ability to actually deal with the rejection. I think that's just something we say, oh, I'm fear of rejection. And I know we are fear of that, but what we're actually are fearing is that moment that leads up to it. That's when the real anxiety is when you truly live that awful feelings within you. At least that's for me, the moments before I'm doing it. That's just, you're in a place where you can't control yourself, or you have these battling thoughts, the good side and the bad side, trying to come up with excuses for not doing it. It's just this internal battle within you, and depending on the situation, it could be just awful. But once you're in the situation, I'd say that it's quite, you get in the flow of, you just deal with what you are experiencing. To some extent, I should say, it differs a little bit on the context, but that's my experience of this. But that's also what's so good with these challenges, because every time you do it, it gets easier and easier to overcome this barrier. You know you're gonna push yourself to do it if you're in the right mood. Because I should say, you really need to be in the right place before doing these challenges. I tried to do some challenges a couple of days ago when I was sick and really felt like shit, and I was like low energy, and I really didn't want to do it. It was more like, yeah, you have to check this box off now, Alex. You have to do this. And that approach, I actually approached a girl in the store down here. That really didn't went any well at all. That was down the drain. And I'm actually going to post that later tonight. I haven't been able to edit that out yet. But so you need to a tip for you is to really motivate yourself, be in the right energy mood. Because if you're doing it from a state of, you're not properly motivated, you don't do it for the right reasons for yourself. That was the issue with that approach. It was all about, yeah, I need some material for the vlog. I didn't want to do it at the time because I was sick, as I said, and just, I don't want to do this. And when you don't want to do this, when you're not motivated, it's no point doing it, because then it's just something that it's not building your self-esteem, because you're not doing it for the right reasons. That's the whole idea with building self-esteem. It has to come from within, from the right place. That's how you should look at this. And that's also when it becomes easier and fun, when you're doing it from the right place. When you're doing it because you know this is something I have to do to level up, to reach my next step of development. And again, for me in the store there, I saw this girl, I wanted to approach her, but I wanted to approach her, as I said, because I needed some material for the vlog, and that's the wrong reasons. That's just an insight that came to me so clearly right now. And that is also when I'm coming to the next big conclusion from this rejection therapy. When you do the approaches, then you're kind of in in a bubble of some sort. You're in a different world. You look at yourself from a third person perspective in some sense, and you get one idea of how the whole thing went. You might come out from the situation and think, whoa, that went really well. I'm so proud of myself. And that's something I've realized when I look back at the material. That's why it's so good to record it. Then you can look at the interaction, you can see your response, and you feel that, yeah, that went so good at the moment. But then when you look back at it in the calm, when you're calm and relaxed and you're watching it on the computer here, it's a totally different worldview. They can differ so much, because when you're so adrenaline rushed and just proud for what you did there, then it might come off that you did like the best approach ever. You did an awesome conversation with that person. But when you look at it more objectively, you realize that you have so many issues there, or all the things you can work on. But you have to land somewhere in between those things, because you are so self-critical. You always see the worst in you. So it's good actually to embrace this first part a little bit. Hang tight to that proudness of doing what you really want to do, that you did the right thing, and land somewhere in between, because you should absolutely look at what you can do better and work on that on the next time, but you shouldn't judge yourself too hard. If you look at, there's a lot of research and on how to what do you say, not develop kids. When you have children and you want to teach them how to be a good person. I'm missing the word here, but you should always focus in on the good stuff. Tell them what they did good, positive things, stuff like that. That's when they enjoy it, and that's when they grow and focus. They become better persons, happier persons, and they develop the skills further when they are. I'm so losing my words here. But when they see the positive side, that's when the good things happens, and that's how you should treat yourself. The self-talk you have, you should always be your best self friend. But it doesn't mean you shouldn't become self-aware, because that's what this looking back at the videos do to you. You become self-aware. And once again, if you look back at the theory from the book, The 6 Pillars of Self-Esteem, the first 2 pillars are self-awareness, and then we got self-acceptance. These 2 are key to taking responsibility, which is change, growing. So we need to be aware, we need to own up to what is actually going on before any kind of growth and development can happen. Sure, you can get desensitized to making the approach and being more courageous, but you still want to develop these social skills in order to actually improve on that step, because that is equally important. If you're just the weird guy that isn't afraid of anything, it won't likely take you that much further, because the weird guy, hey, he's the weird guy. That is also a little tip for the actual approaches when you do these rejection therapy challenges. Announce that you also think it's weird. If you're approaching a person, you're making a request or asking him or he or she a question, say this thing. Hey, I know this is weird. I know this is quite random. Then you're acknowledging the fact that this is outside of the social norm, but you still are going along with it. That's the difference from actually just being weird and not realizing that you are weird. Then people will think you're weird in that sense. But if you at least acknowledge it and put it out there, they will most likely respond better to your request. At least that's from my own experience, but also from the theory I've taken from other people that have done this, and from books that I've read. And I've come to realize that that is actually true. Yeah, I don't want to get too lengthy here. I actually think that I've got the two core points that I wanted to address. And before moving on to the next part of this video, I just want to mention that the best and worst moment of the week, the perfect and rotten avocado, as I call it, and I haven't actually thought this through, but the rotten avocado, just from the top of my mind, yeah, it was when I approached the girl, and it was in yesterday's, or actually the vlog episode that I posted today. I managed to screw up the recording, so I didn't get it on film, but it was when we were walking along the beach, and it was this very cute blonde girl that was passing by, or actually she was walking on a little bit of distance, so I approached her, and I stopped her and said, "Hey, excuse me, I just have to say you're incredibly beautiful." And she said, "Hey, thanks." And I said hello, and she said her name was Filippa, and I realized that she was probably Swedish, and that was the case. She was Swedish, and somehow I just blanked out. Partially, I think it was a bit due to me being very tired in that moment. Well, it was also a little bit of this, what I was talking about just now, not being motivated from the right source. So I just blanked out, and it was very weird and awkward, and it ended up with her like, "Yeah, I have to go now. I have some friends to meet up with." And the thing is, when I get to that point, I lose the energy, the good vibe, the sense of this is fun, because that's when it's going well, no matter the outcome of how I'm being met, what the person is telling me. When I have that energy and vibe and think it's fun, then it's all good. But now I went into the standby, don't know how to react mood, and that was awful. That was not a good approach. But I learned that I survived that as well. That was the worst moment. The best moment, I have to say, was the approach I did with the camera. And I talked to the 4 girls from Manchester. They were super nice, and I just got into a nice rapport with all of them and had some good conversations, and I got to practice some interviewing skills, and I think that's something I can recommend you to do as well, to get out there and practice random conversations with people. Ask if you can interview them for a short video episode of some kind. It doesn't really matter. I don't think they will ask you that much more details. It has never happened that they have wanted to see what I recorded when I've done this before. And it was just a very fun, easygoing, nice interaction with 4 girls, talking to a big group of people like that. And yeah, I really, really enjoyed that moment, and it's something that still brightens me up when I think about it. That's the thing with these moments, the rejection therapy, to just extract one of the other positive things from this. You get so many great moments, memories to think back at, things that you really wouldn't have done otherwise, but it's moments, memories that really warms you up from within. You get to know people you never would have spoken to otherwise in a whole new way, and you create that short but very intense little moment, special moment that you remember, and good memories. You know what I'm talking about. I don't need to get more advanced than that, and that's one of the big benefits of doing these rejection therapy challenges. truly is. So if you haven't done these, if you haven't tried rejection therapy, I say do it and customize it to your level. It should be something that is absolutely outside your comfort zone. Maybe doesn't have to be like that far out. You can just stretch it a little bit as a starting point and then keep growing it. If you overdo it, at least from my experience, or when you do it from the wrong source of motivation, then it will actually harm you a little bit, create some emotional scars. So adjust it to your level and make it fun. That's key. That's key. And for next week, we are not doing rejection therapy. We are into the sixth pillar of self-esteem. It is all about integrity, and we will talk more about that on Sunday. So make sure to look at the video I will release then, and we will talk about how to live with integrity and how that relates to building self-esteem. It will be amazing. Yeah. But that means that this little evaluation is over, and we are moving on to the weekly evaluation. And that was the Pomodoro clock ringing. I'm actually able to access YouTube again. So before I'm closing it down, I can just see if we have any questions or stuff like that. Do we? No, I'm still blocked. No, yeah, I'm still blocked. No, I'm not. Whoa. Live. No. Am I? Yeah. I'm still live. Good thing, it worked. But so, we are going to continue on with the weekly evaluation. However, I'm going to stop this live stream right now because from experience, I have been able to totally lose my recordings when I've been streaming for a long time, so I'm dividing it up to 2 videos. And if you don't know, the weekly evaluation that will continue now, it will be you and me working on our own, just going through the week. So make sure to open that video in a few minutes. See you in a bit. Bye guys.